Lian Han is 50 years of age and he's had limited success on the international scene. He's not up to the level of Yapp, certainly.
Yeah, without a doubt, Phil. And I think you're right on point. I've had some players say that they think they like Qatar in this match, but I tell you, I know Han a bit, and he's going to be very comfortable with Yapp, and Yapp kind of grew up with this guy being as one of his mentors. So I actually expect them, as long as they get used to the table, that being Han, I think the table sets up perfect for Yapp myself, his technique, his fundamental, but I expect both these teams to play pretty quality.
Yeah, Lian Han, he actually beat Alex Pagulayan at the US Open last year. Got to the last 32 of the World Championship 9 years ago. He's had a top 10 in an All-Japan Championship. So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, obviously experience isn't lacking. He's a grinder too. He kind of fights for every shot and just not going to give an inch. So I would still label Singapore as a little favorite. Don't know a whole lot about Walid's partner, but of course Qatar has been on the mat playing 9 balls since the World Pool Championships was there for so many years. A little bit of an overrun there, but nothing easy on the one for the opening shot for Team Qatar. The one thing I'm interested when it comes to Qatar is, you know, you got to think Walid is the leader on this team, and he's a bit of a rhythm player. So is the doubles going to slow him down a little bit? Of course it is. And is it going to affect his game a little bit?
You make a very good point, you know, Jeremy. I think for anyone, even the most tolerant player, when it comes to Scotch doubles, I think you have to accept that obtaining a rhythm and building it and nurturing it is really difficult in Scotch doubles. It's a totally different scene to when you play as an individual. And I think when you embrace that and you know it's the case, then you can cope with it.
Yeah, and what I talked about in day one, the teams that really get into that one-shot process. Hey, I'm shooting one shot, going 2 rails here. My opponent plays, does the same thing. Just simple one task at a time. Those are the teams that I think are going to do the best. Okay, didn't want to open the 6-3, obviously. Has given up a shot, a long one, but one you fancy Walid to bury.
He's got that beautiful languid cue action. Really stylish player, isn't he, Jeremy?
Yeah, and he's actually calmed it down a hair in the last couple of years. I mean, as a professional, you watch what the other guys do, and there's nothing wrong with a little of that pump action, but you don't want too much. But yeah, a lot of very fluid with the stroke. Interesting, they bumped the 4 to the back rail there, so it's going to be difficult to get back from the 3 to the 4. And now with this angle, we'll see the 6 is really impeding the draw stroke. Wow, and you can see he exhibits a lot of power.
It's a syrupy, silky cue action, and clearly one that's well timed.
Yeah, and a bit of a mistake from Han, again losing the 1 ball on that safety, but what an opening run out this would be for Qatar to get on the board and get something started early. little quick with the stroke there. So probably a little out of line with what he wanted. Should be okay, though.
Qatar out of the gate in eye-catching fashion. Some wonderful shots there. A really nice dish, and if that's a sign of things to come, Singapore have got quite a headache. Qatar have gone deep in the World Cup before in 2015. Not too far from here, actually, at the famed York Hall in Bethnal Green. They got to the quarterfinals, defeating, to reach that point, the USA and the Czech Republic.
Yeah, and I thought about it this morning as I look at our Qatar players. Of course, Walid on the right, Ali Nasir on the left. But I was thinking about it this morning for the teams that had to wait till day 3 to play their first match. I kind of think it's a good thing. I think they got to see a lot of the table, a lot of the break, of course, some of the physical things in the game, but they also saw some pretty prominent teams struggle at times, and that'll settle you, knowing that everyone deals with the nerves and the moment.
Al-Abaidi breaks off in rack 2.
Oh, interesting here. I don't think he quite has enough angle to bank the 1 and bring the cue ball at the 9, but it's possible. Well, the spin may get him here. We'll see. No, it's going to be just fine.
Internationally, Walid Majid is the most experienced player of the two. He's done well, actually, over the years. But not on that shot. Now, that really... that's a shocker.
Yeah, you got him, Phil. Commentator's curse never fails. And just, I think Walid, you know, his personality, what he brings mentally, I think he'll shake that off. It's just a matter of what Singapore can do to punish this mistake.
Yeah, it's amazing. You look at your research, you tell folks what he's done in the past. You're about to big him up, and then he misses a ball you can't quite comprehend.
And I'll tell you, I know it was a safety, but such an important shot after a mistake. That shows you the confidence that Singapore has in Han. Could have brought Yapp to the table there. And instead, on an important safety, they brought the vet. Yeah, the long rail kick doesn't sit that great the way the 5 sits. I may kick 3 rails off the side rail, the bottom rail, then the opposite side rail coming to the back side of the 5. Yeah, I like this route. Generally, you want to kick to the top cushion here, but the 5 just sits a little bit in a funny spot. A hair closer to the rail, certainly the path, but I think overall percentages say this is the best way to get safe. first offensive look for Singapore.
Jeremy Yapp, what a player he is. He crunches that kind of ball in on such a regular basis.
Yeah, and really coming as cold off the chair as you can to bury that shot there. That's going to do a lot for their team, and should be 1-1 here shortly. Little short of the mark, obviously, but the table draw's nice. Like I said, I think Yapp's fundamental really sets up for this table so well. So, should really draw the ball pretty easily overall. That'll do.
These two have played doubles in the Southeast Asian Games.
Singapore.
So there's no worry about team cohesion. They know each other well. They have great mutual respect. And that is just what the doctor ordered for Singapore. Really good pot to get in. And from there, they made it look entirely routine. That was the problem, though. This miss, Jeremy, not good.
No, and like I said, maybe the one guy in the room that can shake off that miss as easily as anyone. So we'll see whenever Qatar gets back to the table how they can kind of make up for that mistake. But that's the problem with this winter break format, and the table breaking pretty darn well from both sides. So we'll see Yapp make his first break shot here in the match.
In 2019, they went out in the first round to Finland. But since then, Aloysius Yapp has developed into one of the best players on the planet. At the US Open last year, he was a revelation. When you consider he overcame the likes of defending champion Joshua Filler, 11-4 he won that match. He also beat Shane Van Boening.
The third rack, Singapore to break. The challenge scores 1 rack each.
Also claimed the scalp of Denis Akolio, but overcoming Carlo Biardo in the final was one step too many.
Man, I think Yapp really kind of possesses everything that is needed in a great player. A great demeanor around the table. Very smart decisions, great cue ball. Can come with the shot like we saw on the last rack, and really is only going to improve from here. Pretty scary.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, Yapp. He was the WPA World 9-Ball Junior Champion in 2014, and his development has been steady, ongoing.
That's going to be upsetting there, and a little quick with the stroke there. He's really concerned with the cue ball, I think, with the 5, and that's going to hurt. Saw the ball slide a little bit, a bit of a kick, as they say in snooker, and when the stroke gets a little quick, that tends to happen a little more often.
So the one was stuck, and that's why Qatar are back at the table looking good.
can see a little awkward bridging there.
Waleed Majid missed the 5 ball in the previous rack, but no mistake there.
Yeah, and that long frame of Waleed, he just creates a lot of power, a lot of easy power from that thin angle on the 5. He really got a lot out of the cue ball.
Sorry. Stall attention.
Oh, this is as ugly as it gets. Not quite enough angle to move the cue ball easily from underneath the 8. So makes this ball missable. That's exactly what happens when you have to put some heat on it going into those side pockets, Phil.
He's that kind of player. He doesn't hold back. He plays the shot that he regards as the right shot. But you are totally correct, Jeremy. You have to be so precise at that pace. And the sum and substance of this, the rack has been gifted to Singapore. That was a little snatchy, but the 9 ball found its target.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly don't feel fresh today. Now it's 32 degrees an hour. It's just a final bit of battery in there. Yeah, there must be something in one of the pockets because there are quite a few balls chipping a ball there. Yeah, and it's cruising, but I think just be like this.
It's been a morning, now an afternoon of mistakes at the World Cup of Pool. The latest from Walid Majid. The 8-ball powered into the centre pocket, not quite accurately enough, and Singapore picked up the pieces. So To, Lian, Han and Aloysius Yapp lead 2-1, breaking off in the fourth.
Singapore is leading by 2-1 in the play.
He's going to love this starter. I don't think the 2 squeezes between the 3 and the 6. It's close, but some options here for Yapp on the 1, getting on that 2 ball. If the 2 doesn't go, he's got to play something with a deft touch coming down short side on the 2, either for the right middle. That's kind of what you figure anyways. It's all about the speed control. I wouldn't say the 1's a gimme, but it shouldn't be a worry. We'll see if he's gotten a little straight. He may have to go short side on the 4 here. And you look at Han, if you know him, and Yapp, and they're 2 types of guys that would really be what you would think really good partners with most players. Very easy to get along with, know the shots. Very calm players. So a little light there, so Han's going to have to come with a shot on the 4. Just straight up and down with the cue ball, if he decides to shoot at it. It is pretty thin, Phil.
Extension called.
That's a confidence builder.
Yeah, like you opened this match. I mean, Han has played quite a few big events in the last couple of years, and he wins matches against, you know, players that are favorites over him just pretty much every tournament, it seems. So getting across the finish line has happened. Of course, he hasn't had the deep runs, but the guy can play.
At the age of 67, Efren Reyes would have been the oldest player in the tournament by a distance, but of course, very unfortunately, no fault of Matchroom's whatsoever, he was unable to obtain a visa, and so To, Lian, Han is the oldest player here, and he's doing okay.
Yeah, well, he's human, even though his experience, he's kind of settling the nerves.
Singapore wins the race.
The 50-year-old knocks in the 9-ball, and Singapore's superiority increases to 3-1. Nice rack for them, that. Nice rack.
I thought the school very far.
Yeah, super nice opener on the 1 to get that tidy position on the 2. And yeah, that's the thing, you know, confidence builds whenever a guy like Yapp ends up short with the cue ball on the 4. And then Han makes a beautiful recovery shot, and they get on out behind it.
He's one of those players, Yapp, doesn't seem to be any thought anywhere in his mind that he's going to miss. So these two don't know if they win, they will play next, because in the last 16, although most of the pieces are now in that jigsaw. That's not the case in this segment of the bracket. Singapore or Qatar will take on either Kuwait or Vietnam. And that match is coming up next for you in this session. There you can see Singapore are the number 6 seeds. Kuwait seeded to beat Vietnam in our next contest, but by no means a certainty. Qatar's problems can be traced back to that missed 5-ball, which was meat and drink really for Walid Majid in rack number 2.
Yeah, that's the one that probably hurts the most. The 8 was a missable ball for sure, once he had to attack with the cue ball. Kind of crossed the 1 over a little bit there. So he's going to get a little thin on the 1 and not really anything offensive. Now, can he bank the 1 across and just drop the cue ball to the bottom rail, kind of using the 6? It looks like thinning the 1 isn't really much of a play here. Yeah, I think he can definitely bank the 1 across just above the 3. Kind of kill the cue ball with a top left English, I think. Edging it could be okay, but that's a very difficult play, and if you give him a piece, you're not going to like it. Well, he's done pretty well. He's left him the top of the 1, but that's not terrible. Pretty thin hit needed here. Don't really think there's a guaranteed snooker anywhere. Maybe just get some separation and make it very difficult to shoot the 1 if they do give up a shot and get position on the 2.
Extension calls.
Just watch out for that corner pocket with the cue ball coming 1 rail cross. Yeah, this is the... Ooh, okay, not terrible. Okay, if he attacks here, which I think he should, he's going to shoot the 1 and come 1 rail off and try and bump the pink to hold position on the blue 2. Lays pretty natural with a little top left English.
Extension, please.
He's kind of cueing downward here. Surprising. Kind of a little more cinch on the 1 that way, and he could still bump the 4 and held for the 2. It didn't happen, but pretty clean strike there on the 1 ball. Now, if he's drawing off this 2 to come behind the pink 4 and the green 6, he's got to be careful of pocketing the 2 up in the corner on the bank shot. It's going to be close. Cue ball got away from him a little bit. I think he did put the 2 in a good spot, though. The rail first isn't that difficult of a shot, but once you start to add speed to try and get some position on the 3, that's where it becomes very missable.
All kinds of bumps and nudges and hitting jaws at speed. In the end, the 2 is on.
It sure is, and that's a little experience there, recognizing that. Was that shot really on rail first? Oh my, not something you see from Yapp very often, but was that shot very much really on for Qatar a moment ago?
I didn't see this coming, Jeremy.
That's okay to come across for the 4 in the same pocket. Saw Waleed kind of with a hand gesture. I thought he's in a good spot. His partner, which I don't know a whole lot about, seems to be playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I think that's key. From the word go, he seemed self-assured, although Majid is now throwing his arms in the air again.
Well, more deservedly here. He's left his opponent near the cushion, a little flat. The 7 doesn't pass the 8, so he's got to work the cue ball. And these 4-inch pockets, we know that's when they really become missable. We've seen it a couple times already. Oh, he's elevating, so he must be straighter than I thought. I thought he could go forward. Watch outside pocket. Ah, beautiful stroke. Now, is this going to get a little funny? This is near the rail. Looks like a possible scratch if he levels out. So I guess he can get to the bottom rail if he'll come 2 rails out to the center.
I like what I'm seeing from Al-Abaidi. Does not seem overawed by the occasion at all.
I agree. Thing is, he's not questioning much. He's going with what he sees, and good sign right there for Qatar.
Indeed it is, and so this time it is the Singaporeans who make the mistake. Specifically, Aloysius Yapp surprisingly missing the 2 to middle, and Qatar went to work. 3-2. That was the pivotal ball in the rack. Okay, the white was close to that top rail, but nevertheless, Yapp is such a good potter. I did not anticipate him leaving the table. So German referee Marcel Eckhard, efficient as always, just racking the balls up for the start of the 6th. Interested spectators. David Al-Qaidi on the left, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz on the right. The powerful Spanish pairing.
Yeah, and these players, of course, love to watch, but they're trying to pick up a little bit here and there. You never know what you might learn from the stands.
Trailing by 3 racks to 2.
There's a team that's looking to win this event. Pretty unlucky there getting elevated over the 8, but that's just part of it. And seems the table's changed a little bit from day 1 to 2 and now 2 to 3. The right rail breaking pretty nice.
One thing I've been reminded of with Waleed Majid is that he's not afraid to show his emotions. If he's annoyed with an outcome, you know about it.
Yeah, this shot here has got to be precise cueing. When you're elevated like this, you can curve the ball with any miss hit. And hitting the ball thick is the miss usually here.
Small sample size, Jeremy. I will say that before I go any further, but of all the lesser-known players to grab my attention, Al-Abaidi is right up there.
Yeah, don't think that is this his debut. I think maybe it is, but for the players that I don't know as much about, definitely has looked as confident as any player, really. Okay, should just come across for the 4 in the same pocket. No reason to go back and forth.
The other thing I like about him, which you will of course notice as a renowned coach yourself, Jeremy, is the fact that technically he's compact.
Well, the same kind of shot. I mean, or the same kind of miss at least. It's been overcuts every time for Walid, and maybe just a little bit too much speed.
We saw Klasovic miss a very similar ball to that yesterday for Serbia, and beforehand, Jeremy, who was commentating on that match, called it. It was the same kind of principle.
Yeah, you get a little bit, like I said, too much speed. The ball gets in the air just a little bit when you elevate. Easy to overcut, not only on the slick table as well. I mean, it's just interesting here. They have a short kick that they can maybe manage a safety with. They're thinking about trying to bury this 4 across corner, and I think this is the right shot, actually, going for the kick, going for the make.
Oh, you want to kick, try kick full ball?
No time,
I think this is correct. Just a nice rolling shot. Well, they should get back to the table. They probably won't like the scenario, but interesting. He's looking at kicking underneath the 6 here. He's going to have to bend the ball a little bit with a draw stroke if he does that. I like the side rail myself. And this one here, I probably don't kick with as much speed as most would. I don't want to lose accuracy is why. But, oh, he's made the 8.
The 4-8 combination in unconventional fashion. And it's shots like this that turn matches.
Yeah, you would think it is these types of shots, Phil, that, you know, a little bit of fortune always pays to hit them. But if you think about it, really, Singapore shouldn't have got to the table in this rack. It was a missed 4 ball. It really lengthened this game, and now it's going to lengthen this lead most likely for Singapore.
Walid Majid, in terms of international experience and achievement, is the senior partner for Qatar, but he's missed 3 balls he should have knocked in. And for the most part, Singapore
Blanket 7th rack. Singapore to break, leading by 4x to 2.
So Lian Han and Aloysius Yapp from Singapore will be happy so far, but they will be taking nothing for granted. They've given Qatar numerous chances.
Yeah, it kind of came across the one there, and sometimes you have a dry break when you do that, but definitely can create clusters as well, and we see a pretty heavy one on that side rail with the 3, 6, 7, and 8. Now the good thing is, if you can bury the 1, should be able to play a pretty handy safety here on the 3, maybe a cross-side bank on the 3, we'll see.
Well, I was about to say, if you're going to nominate someone to play a shot like this, Yapp would be high on the list, but he comes up short. Doesn't do the job.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see those 4-inch pockets break in a little bit here on day 3. We talked about it on day 1 and 2, that as the tournament goes on, we're going to see some balls that hit the pocket a little crudely start to stand up. Now, do you take the chance trying to get into the 7-8 here, or the 3, trying to create something offensively? Got to be careful here. You can't get games back, so percentages are huge. I think they're okay. I don't know if Waleed knows the shot or not, to just push through on the 3 and put him on the back of the 6. I think it's available, actually.
Not the outing he wanted, so far at least. Out of sync.
Yeah, Team Singapore did have a break and run in this match, but you could easily say there's 3 games. They've been kind of gifted from some easy kind of misses or easy situations, let's say.
Yeah, I go through. I try to leave you thick.
It's got to go a little bit. Pretty perfect speed there. And again, into the side pocket from this angle, Phil, if you have to try and draw the ball out with speed, easy to bobble this ball. So do you just, you know, lay the 6 in and play a pretty nice safety on the 7? Yeah, I think that's a smart play right there. You can see it's tough side pockets on this Rasan.
Yes, and you don't expect anything expansive, do you, from Han? He's the wise old head, the gnarled player.
Yeah, is he looking at going rail first here on the 7? You heard him say cushion first. This can get away from you. Just cutting the 7, though. He's almost got to throw it with a lot of left English.
So I just played this year and I just throw.
Yeah, that's the right shot. And now the 9 impeding the kick, I think. Phil, things are tough here for Qatar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 9-ball definitely in the way, complicating the issue, which is complicated enough anyway.
I'm surprised why Lee's not sending his partner 3 rails at this from behind. Yeah, that was always going to be difficult, and you never could put a ton of speed on it and have the English really take.
There you see, for someone unfamiliar with the rules, the 9-ball does come back on the table, of course. It is a foul shot, and with ball in hand and only 3 balls left on the table, Singapore heading towards a 5-2 lead.
Could have got him a little better on this 9. Not tough, but from where the 8 was, should be a little more straight.
Singapore wins the rack.
Yes, it's a little over 6 months until Christmas, but right now, Singapore are being showered with gifts. That was a really good snooker from Aloysius Yapp, and consequently, we were always expecting the potential for a foul, but you have to say the real crux of the Qataris' problems here have been because Walid Majid, the man on the right-hand side there, has missed some balls you can't forecast.
Yeah, it's been a couple misses from Yapp. A long 1 ball that was a missable ball. A two ball was it in the side that we didn't expect to miss. But it's been just kind of like a decent, solid match for Singapore, but really just like you said, cleaning up mistakes after Qatar.
These days, there's so much excitement in the world of 9-ball pool, thanks to Emily Fraser and Matchroom Multisport. So many tournaments now on calendar, and a new one was officially added yesterday. The European Open will take place in August, from the 9th to the 14th to be precise, in Fulda, the hometown of Torsten Homan, the twice world 9-ball champion. The US Open takes place in Atlantic City in October. The Mosconi Cup, it's in Las Vegas, last day of November, first 3 days of December. And Jeremy Jones, my co-commentator, will be skippering the home side.
Yeah, I can't wait, and I hope there's a load full of American players that can't wait. Not only the ones that will make the team, but the ones trying to make the team. Who knows how it goes just yet, but you know it's going to be something special. Okay, tracking the 1 nicely. Little bit of a cut break, hair of spin, and Han's going to have his hands full, not just pocketing the 1, but getting position on the 2.
Yeah, 就直接拉到。
It's the type of shot you could scratch on the side trying to draw the ball here. If you miss the pocket a hair thin, definitely lose it in that right side. Or the corner, it looks.
That old Q Sports cliche, which is true. A game of fractions. Had the cue ball dropped in there, the whole scenario would have been radically different.
Well, you've been around all kinds of sports for a long time. You know when you make some mistakes, it's not going to be easy to get back on the board. You got to earn it. That's going to get away from him. It's going to leave a tester, of course, and again, hard position, but Yapp's the type of player to manage this. Just a nice follow stroke maybe between the 7-8, down short side on the 2 maybe. I don't really see a whole lot of options. Maybe considering the safety, it's so difficult to get on the 2.
Extension.
Extension, please.
Go for pot.
I think it's going to be a follow stroke, and he's got to hit it pure not to get into the 7 here, and again come down on the left side of the table.
From distance, Yapp not quite as sharp as normal. And I think Jeremy was absolutely on the button when he was talking about the impact of these 4-inch pockets. As the weeks going on, they're becoming tighter. Although that one was quite obviously overcut.
And it's been a couple overcuts for Yapp from some distance on a couple of 1 balls, and a nice starter there for Team Qatar, and they need to settle in. This race to 7 is getting shorter and shorter. Between the 3-9 with the cue ball here, maybe. Love to just get the cue ball back where it's at now. And he let up on it again. A little light there, and should be okay, but he's got to draw the ball back for the natural angle on the 7 to get to the 8. Could go forward and play an angle on the 7 to work the rock around the table, but I think it's going to be the draw stroke here. And he's looked way more comfortable, in my opinion, than his partner.
Cue ball a little too close to the side cushion, so this isn't an absolute certainty.
Oh, just don't let up on it. That's the key here. And that's exactly what happened. You have to go ahead and release the stroke. I know it's a hard thing to do when the nerves are high, but you can almost remind yourself, and it helps.
It's like when you try and steer a tee shot in golf, they always go where you don't want them to go. That was a prod.
Team Singapore.
Oh.